And welcome this very sunny morning from the Paris. Actually, you have no idea, my beautiful audience. Actually, it has happened a lot since I was on my last show, and I'm very privileged and honored today to host a very special guest. A new friend of mine, and we tried actually to make it possible uh, to taste a little bit of podcast during our very special summit or counseling or the embassy of the future, but it was so intense and we wanted to be so present with the task there and then, right? So actually it never happened, but it always the most important to believe in the right moment. So I believe that we are here now sitting, I'm in Paris making very special constellations here, and Yuri, my very honorable new friend and guest today. So welcome to the show. Thank you so much for finding or not finding, making your time to be on my show. I do appreciate that so much because we know the most important commodity we can give to each other, it's our time, it's our care and attention here in and right now. So I'm so happy and thankful that you are making this priority for me in my show today. So I hope I will pronounce correctly because you could guide me just a couple of minutes ago. So welcome to the show, and my honorable guest today is Juri Fan Gist.
Correct.
Okay, amazing. Because actually, I'm actually morning coma person. I'm night owl, so in the morning, please excuse me, you particularly, and my audience, they know that in the morning it can happen a lot of strange things because of seven languages in my head, and also because I'm human being, and I do love that about me. I'm still not AI, I'm still not machine that I can do everything perfectly. That's why I can remind people that humanity should thrive and survive, and actually mistake, it's also one part of be human, right?
Exactly.
So welcome this morning to the show, and I always try to elaborate a little bit about the title, not just number for my episodes, but also try to make very nice title. And yesterday when I was preparing, so I actually came with the two titles, and we can discuss together which one we can give to this episode, or maybe at the end of episode it can be more naturally biologically smooth to the title. The first one was From the Soil to the Singularity, Indigenous Wisdom Meets Modern Minds. And I hope our audience can understand why actually this title was chosen by me. And the another one was Three Intelligences, One Earth, Nature, AI, and the Human Spirit. We will see. And now I jump into the introduction because you have won so many accolades already and you have accomplished so much. So if we need to really dig deeply in all that, so we don't have that much time of just 1 hour. So I try to summarize a little bit. So in today's episode, we welcome a truly extraordinary guest, a visionary whose work bridges worlds. From deep humanity to exponential technology, from indigenous wisdom to artificial intelligence, from circular cities to conscious leadership. For over a decade, many decades, but you're so young, okay, we just put for over 1 decade. Our guest has worked at the forefront of transformation, from Singularity University and the World Economic Forum to co-founding Team NXT, right? Do I pronounce correctly? Helping shape the regenerative, inclusive cities. Juri has been training leaders through many different platforms, but also through Naluna Corporation. Do I pronounce correct? Yes.
Yeah.
Authored the foundational books and the book Exponential. Through them, give so much knowledge about exponential morning. I thought morning, and still remains tremendously passionate about integrating human, natural, and artificial intelligence in a way that respects life and honors diversity. With the heart rooted in indigenous values and a mind expanded by spacious consciousness. He embodies the future of leadership, one that is radically inclusive, regenerative, and deeply human. So please, once more, welcome to the show and good morning. This is my very special pronunciation. I'm so sorry because I also recently trying to learn French last 2 weeks, and then it's oh my god, my head mind blowing. I doesn't understand anything. What I'm trying to do with my head now. Okay, so let's welcome and let's jump immediately to the roots that shape every tree, and then we know that as roots shapes every tree, so our roots shape with childhood shape the tree and everything what we are actually displaying today. And I would like to jump in your roots and in your childhood and its impact on who you are today. So tell us, please, about your roots, your childhood, and maybe about special defining moments in your childhood that shape the way you see the world today. Thank you. Now I'm sipping. You speak in the morning.
Thank you. First of all, great to be here. Hi also to everybody watching and listening to this episode. My childhood, yeah, I'm a typical Gen X person. I would identify with that. So, yeah, I had a loving childhood,
Okay.
and my parents are still together. So I think that's significant and special, right?
Sustainable.
They're still alive also, so that's also I'm grateful for that. In terms of experiences, yeah, I was playing outside a lot, which I think is very important for youngsters today. They have too much screen time and sitting at home. I think that's bad. So I invite my kids to play outside and discover the city or whatever, right, or the world instead of just a screen. So that allowed me to become street smart and resilient, right? And playful and social and physical, most importantly. Engage with nature. I was fishing a lot.
Mhm.
People don't know that about me, but I was fishing like 7 years in my childhood quite frequently. So being in nature, also hyper focus, persistence. Um, yeah, it's basically meditation, right? In a sense, and I realized afterwards. So that was a big one. I was also playing soccer, football,
Mhm.
for 7 years. I enjoyed that a lot. And a defining moment was, I guess, that the rise of the computers, the Atari, Spectrum, the Commodore 64. That was
Mhm.
a huge game changer for me. At the arcade games in the cinemas. Yeah, so I was totally absorbed by that, like playing games and trading software and
How
going.
old were you when
I
this?
was around 10 years old when I had a first Commodore 64,
Mhm.
10, 11 years old. And then I was hyper focused on that. So yeah, that was an amazing period of like 6 years. Yeah, so you had these special events where people were playing games and trading software and hacking. And yeah, I remember that we had hacked Visa and MCI cards, credit cards, so we could do conference calls for free with everybody around the world. Yeah, back then I was crazy in English. I was 13 years old, talking to people in Australia, US, whatever, right? And that was really special in those days.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was part of a demo group called Swings. My nickname was Dragon. I don't know
Oh,
why. So I
wow.
was writing the texts already back then, and now I'm an author, of course. But I was writing text in the demos. Yeah, and yet all these hacker parties, right? So it was very nerdy, and they're still around. The CCC, for example, but back then it was quite small, just for the Commodore 64 or the Amiga later on, and so yeah, that was a quite defining moment. What else in my childhood? Yeah, I would say I was a fast learner,
Mm-hmm.
so I could skip two classes. I was 16 years old when I was entering the university, Erasmus University in Rotterdam. Yeah, that was pretty strange, right? I was probably one of the youngsters.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that I was upset because I didn't get a free public transport card, which everybody got when they were 18 years old. I was
Yeah.
16 years old, so I was punished for being fast. So
Okay.
then I was so upset that I decided to play poker for 1 year full time.
Oh my
I
God.
didn't do anything, but I was uh,
Amazing.
I was rebellious in that sense and had a great time, by the way. And then I moved from econometrics metrics towards economics. I started economics, business economics, strategic management, and I found my passion there and my purpose. And also defining moment, I would say, yeah, that was when I was 15 years old. I discovered a club, dance club in Rotterdam called Nighttown, and it was totally amazing for me. It was just the first summer of love, 1988, at the rise of electronic dance music, and that was transformative for me because I realized, whoa, this is the future. This is about the body, feeling, intuition, spirit, all the things we talk about today, you and me as well. The seeding was over there, right? Let's say the mystical, the indigenous, the dancing,
Mm-hmm.
there was a trend, also transformative. I was going there every week and drinking out two colas and that's it, right? Because I had no money at all, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But just dancing was amazing to feel the energy. Yeah.
Oh my God, amazing. I already can even not just get evidence, but even taste the diversity you have been experienced since you were born. Like, first of all, really enveloping love of your parents, which you still experience. And I'm so happy to hear that. It's really, really rare now. It's phenomenal that they have this, let's put it in the in new way stream, sustainable marriage, long-term marriage, right? It's of course then you have this steady ground that you can experience and play with yourself when you have something really, like, not unshaken but steady at home. And then, yes, really meditative practice as a fishing. And I do love that you started that before this all this computer, because then you really could understand, like, focus and being present, being really in the moment. And then it's a lot of patience, right? And it's kind of again embodiment, your ground on the, like, I believe, soil, and it's so direct connection with nature, which you already maybe have rooted in yourself through so many years of fishing, that you can stay real, be focused, be present, be silent, because now many people are so afraid to be silent, right? The most important, that you could talk to yourself and could already, like, align with your inner body and voice is so important. And then like, for me it's very logical then this computer era and everything what you could do experience there, because you already has this base background, really, like, that's why maybe not maybe you became one of those youngsters and could experiment, and then transformational experience your body through the dance and everything, right? All these stages, which is for me very logically, not was like all, but of course at some point you need kind of find how to put all these puzzles when you evolve, right? So but it's amazing that you could experience all that. And but about this card, you said you were punished that you were so young. You couldn't you hack or do something like special substitute for the card? No, it was not possible, because we
No,
did a little bit like this special tickets for the swimming pool and the for metro. Okay, I can share you maybe later, not when my teenagers can hear it now. I don't want to give them this bad example. Okay, amazing. So thank you so much for sharing this beautiful story. And then I want, of course, smoothly jump to evolving further in your life. And then we already have been discussing diversity of your activities, and diversity of activities, they are roots to diversity of thoughts, right? And interaction with other people. And it's exactly what I'm focusing on my podcast about, how important to admire diversity of thoughts and not just tolerate or accept them, because for me it's still not that positive charged word. So, and especially when we're talking about indigenous tradition people, they are so different from us, right? So, and how we can actually put and emerge all that it can thrive together, especially in very challenging time we are experiencing now. So in this vein, if we could smoothly go further on the steps of your life, and at the same time, if you already touch a little bit indigenous diversity of thoughts and their wisdom, which you already mentioned, right? So, what can you believe indigenous wisdom can teach us about honor of diversity of minds, especially of those things that we believe many of us perceive them so different from the norm. Okay, what is norm now? But what we actually can teach from them, because everybody believes they have to teach to us. No, now I believe we have actually to teach more from them about diversity of thoughts. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a long.
Long question, yes, but just
Yeah.
just feel free. Just exactly what hits your soul now.
Yeah.
We are fine on this journey, you
Yeah.
know.
I was not indigenous, or let's say focusing on indigenous cultures on until let's say 9 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I had a personal a transformation moment. I was working too hard, almost burned out, too many things on my plate. So I decided to go inside myself. I skipped 75% of my work, right, to basically heal my or explore myself. And then, yeah, quite quickly I encountered, yeah, the indigenous practices, wisdom, values, via my network, via my own passion, interest, curiosity. So I visited quite a few of them across the world, briefly, maybe a week, sometimes 2 weeks. So the Mayas, Lakota, Incas, now the Kogis, Aboriginals, and so on. And so both in terms of practices, but also, let's say, experiences, but also the research, the academic research around it.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, Aboriginals, Sand Talk by Junka is a great, fantastic book, or The Dawn of Everything by David Graeber. And yeah, so I sort of synthesized what I've learned in practice and by doing the research on the indigenous cultures. And I realized, okay, there are basically five principles
Okay.
that's quite common across different indigenous cultures.
Mm-hmm.
One is to connect to the roots at the land, the ancestors. Yeah, second or first is to connect to yourself, to your source, to yeah, let's say your essence. Then to
Mm-hmm.
the land, then to other people, community, deep humanity. There's a link to diversity, by the way. Then the link between you and nature and you and the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, this is a Western way to make their wisdom tangible, right?
Mm-hmm.
But below this is the principle all is one, oneness, all is interconnected. It's all one thing. So it's not
Totally.
about me connecting to myself and the roots, the land, and the people and nature and universe. There is no segmentation. It's all one, right? And that's um, yeah, hard to explain to so if people don't have that realization or that awareness or feeling, it's a state, a being, um, because we are too much in the mind, right? And I think if you are too much in the mind, like I was and still am now, now and then, by the way, yeah, you are disconnected, right? Then you don't have that feeling of oneness and interconnectedness and entanglement. So what we can learn from indigenous values and wisdom is that to become more present, more in the
Mm-hmm.
here and now, to feel more and to connect continuously inside the body, right? Our heart and souls as a way to create our world and our future. And diversity is fully embedded in indigenous values. The way I interpret it not just the respect for nature, animals, plants, and the universe now, or the soil, the roots, the ancestors, the past and the future, the seven generation principle. There's diversity there and respect for diversity, but also, of course, fundamentally, because they see all diversity, all expressions of life, human beings included, as a way of the universe to express itself and to know itself, right? So it's all oneness, it's all one source, one
Mm,
uh, um, yeah, it's an expression of one principle, one energy, one spirit, right?
yeah.
So in
Yes.
that sense, it's a university, a
Mm.
unity and diversity. It's That's totally embedded in the principles and values of indigenous cultures across the world, in my view.
Wow, amazing. I do love, I have this special, my OCD mind, but not now. I'm joking a little, but it's true. I've shared it in this special um, event we have participated, like pattern recognition, but also like special thing, which like for me it will be the major takeaway. The whole, of course, like holiness, oneness of our speech, but also like university. Yes, it's unity and diversity. Amazing. It's actually I do love that I'm going to note, because after my every show I sit immediately at least 5 minutes when I'm being present and like put the gems of my podcast. So I love that so much. And yes, I know what you mean. It's about wholeness, oneness, and togetherness, right? Everything is so interconnected, intertwined. But as you have already mentioned also, until you cannot come there at the certain period of your life, you cannot skip, you cannot jump and hop over to this certain level of awareness and your state, and to make it not just state but stage, like, right? So you have, unfortunately, probably experienced, like you have mentioned, burnout or some, it's evolving transformational way how you actually come in. And of course, I do wish to myself, and especially to young generation teenagers, they have, that they would experience this period where they come into this great wisdom, like this kind of little bit painful experience, to come there a little bit shorter, if we can give them knowledge. Because I remember so brilliantly underlined by you when we had the conversation during the summit of the future, that of course you were so much in your mind, you used to be working all the time, right? And you mentioned live, you have been living this lonely 5-star life all the
Yeah,
time, planes and all this stuff. But one day you just understood, oh my God, it's probably enough, and I'm going the wrong direction. I'm so happy that actually you came to this, not finish line, but actually starting line to another level of spiral, right? Or if you could mention a little bit, then we kind of back and forth, jump a little bit, that pre-stage when you came to this, oh my God, I need back to the root, to the indigenous, to nature, because you said it just 9 years ago, right? So what was your like feeling or experience, like, oh my God, I have to change something, that maybe we can together now give some recipe or some advice to people, that they don't need to go all this long way, like me as well, actually, through adversity, through a lot of burnout, stress, all possible ways. Just in my head, I had no actually awareness about the word embodiment. Just two
yeah,
3 ago, I found out actually that we also body, we not just head, and a lot of things how we have to be grounded with nature and present, like, what's your private advice could be for the people, like, please wake up, stop,
yeah.
pause, breathe, and look around. You don't need just further and accomplish more performance, more that, more that, more that. It's not happiness in that, right?
Yeah, so it's a great question. Yeah, what happened back then? Yeah, I had two big successes at the same time. Singularity University, I brought it to Europe as a first spin out in the world. After 6 years of working towards this, and the book was a global bestseller. We sold 700,000 copies, and I was flying all over the world. 20 uh, countries in 1 month, to give you a sense how crazy it was in the beginning,
Oh
flying
my.
across the whole world, like totally wacko in my head, of course, the biorhythms. Anyway, so after after 2 years of that craziness, I was lonely, I was empty, I was disconnected. I was even more in my mind than before because all the responsibilities you have to perform on stage, you cannot be sick or tired, whatever. There's no excuse. So there was a lot of performance there, a lot of pressure, a lot of lack of boundaries, lack of self love. Basically, if I look back, because it was hard for me to say no, and of course you want to please everybody, people pleasing or whatever, right? So there were a lot of bad habits and unhealed wounds. If I look back, so what happens? In 2016, at the end of the year, I was sort of at the end of the road, and I
Mm-hmm.
felt like, okay, I felt like I have to make big changes, otherwise I'm going the wrong way, and I might end up burnout and maybe even worse. So, and also I felt from a substance point of view, I have to change my path because I've been doing this now for many years. My learning curve is at the end of the road,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I knew already back then I have to kill my own darlings. That's a principle of my life. Kill your own darlings means now, okay, you're super successful, whatever, in a particular domain, but you're not happy because you're not satisfied because you don't learn.
Mm-hmm.
Follow your curiosity, start all over again in somewhere new. Of course, it's stupid from a matrix point of view, status, money, whatever, reputation, network. But from a happiness point of view, and let's say broader growth point of view, personal growth point of view, it's great. I learned it already a few years ago back then. So I did that, and that helped me out, right? And at
Mm-hmm.
first, it felt very uncomfortable because you start anew. Everybody thinks you're crazy. And what are you doing? You're giving away everything. But I'm a strong believer of killing your own darlings and start anew. Yeah, and how what I can say to young people? Yeah, it's tough, right? Because today there's so much information, a lot of let's say bullshit information. So a lot of young people are fragmented, right? In
Mm-hmm.
terms of what is truth, what is true, what is false, what is real, what is fake, right? And the only way to know that, but at the end of the day, for you is what does feel right for you in your life, your soul, your network. So you have to create filters, and besides the filters, it's all about being mindful that less sometimes is more, right? I
Exactly.
practice that. I read less now than let's say 10 years ago. Also in terms of connections I have or with friends, relationships, less is more. So my life is now much more yeah simple, stable
Mm-hmm.
than let's say 10 years ago. Because I met 12 prime ministers, for example, but you meet them once and that's it. You never because everybody's like all over the place. So what's the value of that relationship? There's no relationship, right? It's very superficial,
Mm-hmm.
in my view. So I've learned to focus on what's really what is life about, right? And also for youngsters, you can ask the question, okay, what is the meaning of life, right? Now, if you look at people that have very successful relationships or very happy or the regrets of the dying people, it's all about relationships, friends, your love partner, your soulmate, your kids, your parents, and that's it. It's all about and the relationship with yourself, right? So being true to yourself, don't be a sellout. Staying true to yourself, right? Your own principles, your values, whatever happens externally. And these are the key drivers of meaning and purpose and value and happiness and health, by the way, as well, wellness for your life. So I reconfigured my life based on these insights the last 9 years, step by step. It's a journey, of course. It's not a one day decision. I feel more comfortable that way because I told you I've experienced so many beautiful things in the last years, and it's all a result of my own personal journey, right? From mind, body, heart, soul, and being more aware, conscious, indigenous values to feel connected. And that gives so much more fulfillment and joy and wonder and it's hard to explain, right? So I made a good decision, but at first, it felt uncomfortable. As always, when you when you make changes, it feels uncomfortable at first. But stick to your plan. And basically, we all go back to our childhood, right? Because if you are a child between 0 and 10 years old, you are connected, you are indigenous, you are in the present moment all the time, unless you get trauma or whatever, or okay, then it's different. But in a normal situation, you are in that state. So when you get older, you want to go back to your roots as a child, the first 10 years in a new way.
Exactly. Thank you so much, because you remember also when we had this check-in in the Embassy of the Future, then everybody came with kind of unspoken rules between us that to keep it safe space. So the first thing I was asking about to have a beginner's mind, right? So it's exactly what you're talking about now. I can compare that to kill your darlings, that like not to stay grasp, grab, and own just your own truth through the life, because at the same point we believe we are gods, we know that for sure, right? And it just works like that. And especially when you've been working so much hardly and getting success with special knowledge and everything, and then all of a sudden you need to like glasses, take these glasses, put them, like, really, but you already kind of they already grew into you, and you all of a sudden have to, I don't know, put them and take another glasses, and it maybe in another color or something, or with a lot of Mickey Mouse or something. I said no, but world also can be and is it like that for and some other people, just not like that. And then kill your darlings, like you said, it's very uncomfortable process, right? And it's really process have requires a lot of perseverance, because it's much more easy and more comfortable with those glasses you've been living the whole life. But I don't remember who was talking about it. Actually, if you see them too comfortable, maybe you are not growing anymore, or you're in the wrong place to sit, right? So you have to change to actually grow and expand your mind at some point. So I totally relate. And then just through all these processes, gradually, like muscle, like, every small steps, every single day, you can start, like, accumulate all this knowledge. But then you cannot be like this. You should start like this and the oil like this, but it's so uncomfortable. It's a lot of feelings. It's anxiety, it's uncertainty. It's like at the one point you believe really like you're just jumping from the and you're losing everything, right? Because you don't know how to live with this new life. But I'm so happy that actually you're so brave that you took this choice, right? And now you can feel more fulfillment and happiness and health and like togetherness and wholeness. And I want
Now,
actually
I can say one thing. You have to you live your life forward, but you can only understand it backward, right? So
yeah,
that's the tragedy or the funny thing about life, right? So you start something anew, intuitively, you feel something is whispering inside of you. Okay, this is the right move, and I trust my gut and my intuition. It brought me a
mhm,
lot in my life. Yeah, and you don't know, you know that you are on your path when there is no path,
yeah,
right? Because otherwise you're walking into somebody else's path, and I think that's a key insight. The way I've lived my life intuitively that way, right? And if of course, at the moment, the similar phase, like, okay, where am there's no path, but that is exactly why you are on the path,
yeah,
right? And you have to accept the creative tension, accept the uncertainty,
yeah.
and trust that not all those who wander are lost, right?
Exactly. That's why. I think it's so important, like you have already actually displayed for us, then it's so important at that moment to feel and to grow this muscle, interconnect this with yourself, because then just one voice which you all the time talking about and elaborate, and it's with yourself. But then to really be able to listen to that, you have to extract all this noise, right, from external world, and not trying to actually escape to get any external validation, because then, like you said, many youngsters now, they are disturbed all the time, so fragment, because if you bombed all the time with all this information from all gadgets and everywhere, then you have never possibility even to have just 1 minute to feel this to listen to your inner voice, right? Because then it's very scary, then you have to face yourself and not be distracted, not be noised. And like you said, then at the certain moment of life, we don't have to add more and more and less, then we have to extract more and more, and then it's very uncomfortable because you already have these safe pillows like gadgets, noises, a lot of stuff that you can distract from yourself, right? It doesn't help, but you have to go to all this unfortunately yourself, right, through this state. I want a little bit more to this life before you have discovered it, because as for me it was very interesting when I could hear the first time the term singularity. And yesterday I was talking with my friend, actually the best friend of mine, she also from Ukraine, and all of a sudden we like an alchemist of Paulo Coelho. We have been living and traveling the world around, and all of a sudden we moved to Paris in the same month. But we didn't see each other like ten years. It was, and I talked about you and about singularity, and I asked her if she actually were known with the term and definition and the meaning. She said, "Oh no," and we start like digging yesterday a little bit. So could you uh, actually explain a little bit to the people, to my audience, who actually exactly like me, have never heard about this term and this meaning, what actually singularity means, and how we can then merge, and how we can use it with all your knowledge and diversity, and probably sustainability, and how
Yeah,
we can amplify that also with diverse human intelligences. Yeah,
yeah.
thank you.
So singularity is has different definitions. It's a term from physics
Mm-hmm.
and from math originally, but now
Yeah.
it has been applied in the last 30 years towards technology, right? So the technological singularity is about the convergence, the combination, the alignment, the remixing of different exponential technologies that are doubling in capacity every 2 years, sometimes every 3 months, like AI
Mm-hmm.
today. And it includes technologies like biotech, nanotech, neurotech, so genes, atoms, neurons, right? How to read, copy, remix, and write them, right? That's all possible today. So
Mm-hmm.
biotech, nanotech, neurotech, I think Neuralink, for example, it's about AI, robots, and drones. It's about
Mm-hmm.
quantum computing, blockchain, new energy sources, new energy storage mechanisms. It's about VR, XR, AR, and what else? I think that's the most. Yeah. So it's basically about all emerging new technologies and how to combine them, and that will lead to radical breakthrough solutions. Now, as we can witness every day now, if you watch the science and technology news, we are in a
Mm-hmm.
very fascinating phase in human history. Yeah, the next 10 years will be the last 50 years of new inventions, for example, in my view, maybe even more,
Mm-hmm.
and other people as well. So the singularity is about this combination of technologies, and it leads to a fundamental unpredictability because the speed of change is now so fast. It's
Okay.
exponential on top of exponential, quantum
Mm-hmm.
speed. So not 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, right? That's exponential. But now it
Mm-hmm.
moves one, 10,000, 10 or 1
Mm-hmm.
billion. Now it's like, so it goes way faster than exponential. So the core of singularity is about unpredictability. It's going beyond human level intelligence, artificial general intelligence or super intelligence. And I think we are pretty close to that, right? Maybe it's 1 year, maybe it's 5 years, maybe it's 10 years. Let's say 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a game changing moment in human history, right?
Wow.
How it relates to, let's say, the other things, indigenous values, humanity. I'm a strong believer. You need both, right? You cannot ignore technological
Mm-hmm.
developments. That's not, reasonable or feasible in my view. But the grounding of technology should be indigenous values, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
indigenous values number one, and I call it nature and human intelligence number one. Then you have artificial intelligence or singularity, the combination of technologies, and then you have some sense making afterwards, again with indigenous values, right? So the core of everything in I had this epiphany 6 years ago. The roots, the soil of everything should be the indigenous values, right? Including technologies. If we don't do that, then we end up in a bad place, probably, with artificial intelligence, for example.
Mm-hmm. But as for me,
To give
and
you an example,
I'm
to give
wrong.
you, make it for very tangible, if you allow me. For example, like AI and robots will create a lot of abundance, right? A lot of productivity and wealth. We have never seen that before in human history.
Mm-hmm.
The core question, of course, is: do we centralize the wealth creation, that the rich get richer, or do we, in terms of indigenous values, it's about equality, community, human
Mm-hmm.
to human, right? Now, let's say there is no ownership there. It's all about sharing, right? So, how do we share the wealth created by artificial intelligence and robots? For example, a universal basic income or high income, as most people now talk about, that's indigenous, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's
Mm-hmm.
what's increasing the social economic inequality? That's not indigenous, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and that shows how do we relate to technology and the fruits of technology.
For me, it's amazing, and very, very interesting. That, of course, maybe we need to have another second part, another show just about that. But for me, if I just like again with this my beginner mind, because you're already so much into it, so uh, you know, those two domains actually, I believe for me and for many people who really are not really like deeply yet into this too, like singularity, I understand more and more. It's actually kind of union. That's why then the from word singular, because for me it was in the beginning it should be just something once, but now I understand it's like yoga also means union actually. It's not all this no, it's union, right? But uh, for me it's like if you are talking about diversity, then it sounds like two really really diverse world, like indigenous values and all this singularity like AI and technology. And I also understand that we have to make this happily ever marriage between them. We have to marry them that we can thrive further. But for me, I believe people who actually don't have this holistic approach as you and me, they actually believe it's too quite polarizational domain. What's your then maybe not solution but approach advice how we can then start give awareness to people that actually they should not be polarized, they should be married. How we can at least start thinking like that?
Yeah, yeah, it's a big topic, right?
Yeah.
I also encounter that myself. The singularity people, university, as a simplification,
Mm-hmm.
are less in line or attuned to indigenous values, wisdom, nature, regeneration, what have you, right? And
Mm-hmm.
humanity, deep humanity, and let's say the liberal arts, right? They are
Mm-hmm.
focused on STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, and that's it. As a simplification. So they are the nerds, right? And then you have the nature and indigenous people. The softer people, now they don't understand singularity or technology because they think that's evil.
Yeah,
Technology
yeah,
is destroying the
exactly.
world, and that's true to a certain degree, but not fully. And so they are totally separate, right? I believe it's all the same thing. Oneness, all is one. If you look at the technological development at the last 10,000 years, for example,
Hmm.
there are different phases, but basically, um, at first, technology was in line with the principles of nature, right? But
Yeah.
in the last, let's say, 200 years, in the Industrial Revolution, we created machines that were mechanistic and reductionistic that extract from nature, including fossil fuels and other, and scarce metals and minerals and resources, whatever, right? So those are not in line with the principles of nature. They are extractive, right?
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
But there's hope because what I see at the moment, globally, is the rise of regenerative technologies or organic technologies uh, that work, operate in line with the principles of life and nature itself, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And we see it in bio-artificial intelligence, biocomputing at the hardware level, neuromorphic computing. So basically, we see a synthesis of life with technology. Now, if you zoom out, for example, everybody talks about sustainability. Now, in my work and workshops and keynotes, I tell people sustainability is gone, right? Already probably 10, 15 years, because sustainability is net zero, right? After sustainability, you have circular economy. Now, I built a whole movement here with Jan Rotmans in Rotterdam, in my hometown, the last 5 years about a circular economy campus. But that's also old school. It's about recycling, right? So you
Hmm.
have sustainability, you have circular economy, then you have regeneration. There's a lot of net positive, to how to restore nature, help nature,
Hmm.
make nature better, right? That's
Hmm.
already that's big, that's big in the world, but still it's not sufficient. Then you have symbiosis, and then
Hmm.
later on you have nature and technology become one
Hmm.
without human interfaces.
Hmm.
And China is here, right? The most advanced vision in terms of nature and technology. And
Okay.
that's where we are going. So in China, they know at the highest level that nature and technology are one. They become one like in the past with the indigenous practices, right? Because the indigenous practices, it's very important to emphasize and realize, they used organic technologies only, right? So sound, light, water in many, many ways, right? Heat, to help create, regenerate, and heal, right? And to invent and to create irrigation systems at a very advanced level, right?
Hmm.
So this is just a small example, of course. We need, let's say, advanced technologies, unlike indigenous. They didn't have that, of course. At least they say that, but we don't know for sure. But as a
No, I
side
don't know.
a lot of things are happening as we speak, across the in terms of historic revelations. But
Exactly.
let's say artificial intelligence, or quantum computing. Let's say, okay, that's new, in our lives, evolutionary phase. Yeah, but these can also become more organic over time, more regenerative over time. Not today, maybe they extract resources and water and energy, right? That's all true. That they are extractive, but they can also become regenerative. People, companies are working on that. So that's why I think we have to bridge nature and technology, and that's the future, in my view. It's already here in China, right?
Wow, amazing. Yes. It's like the political institution, the wall, extractive, inclusive. As long as we have extractive, we just, yes, it's
Yeah,
destructive.
that's a dead end road, as we all know, right? We have to move out of the matrix, right? That this matrix
Yeah.
mindset of performance and scarcity, and
Hmm.
there's time and space, and it's all local, and yeah, it's all true in the material world, right? But in the world of love, the interconnection, which is also true, that's where the magic is. The imagination, the intuition, the synthesis, the oneness, the all is one, the nature technology convergence, right? That's at the love level, not at the material level, right? Here is abundance. There's no time and space, right? And here you have time and space and the scarcity and all the issues we talked about, performance and being inauthentic, too much in the mind. Yeah, that you need both, but the value is here, not here. The real value.
Mm. Wow, I could sit and go on and go on. And before wrapping up, of course, I would like to elaborate a little bit and address the last, but maybe the first passionate topic for me, at least, because I'm displaying this. Strange combo, like, I'm trying to merge and marry in my head all those, because I'm neurodivergent, and I do believe that so many things we are discussing now, in terms of course, invention, creativity, but also indigenous approach to diversity of thoughts. And so many people now in our world, they are neurodivergent, and it's simply, again, if somebody uh, all of a sudden listen our conversation today for the first time, it's just celebrating the diversity of minds, of thoughts. It's like biodiversity. It's so important to celebrate that, not just tolerate, not just accept somehow that our brain just wired different, and we need that, right? So that's why probably so many neurodivergence spectrums have survived through all the centuries, because they are needed. Like, if we know Darwin's, okay, theory, the theory of fittest, if it was not actually that strong and needed, so it would be killed autistic traits and OCD traits many, many centuries ago. But then it means the diversity of minds also matters so much that we need us being different. So and because I'm displaying OCD, neurodiverse, but so many people now, like 35% of population identified, which I could read, but it's exponentially, or maybe even not, like you said, in quantum um, scaling, people um, develop these traits. What's your opinion about this human neurodiversity?
Yeah.
And
Well, I think it's a great topic, very underappreciated. Will become more important over time. That's my prediction.
Mhm, mhm,
Yeah, first of all, it becomes more prominent, and secondly, it's about the value of neurodiversity. I think diversity, I also wrote it in my book, Exponential Organizations, is a key principle of success, also in C-suites, in boards, leadership teams. That's now more accepted, right? In terms of neurodiversity, that's still a long way to go, but it's getting there. I think there's value to ADHD and autism and Asperger, as we can see in Silicon Valley. It's Asperger a hotspot in the world, I would
yeah.
say. Also my own experiences there. I've been there 40 times or something. So yeah, I have a sense of that. Yeah, so I think it's more about becoming aware and to use the positive sides of any neurodiverse type, right?
Mhm,
So
mhm,
ADHD, yeah, you have hyperfocus, right? That's a skill. Now, of course, AI will trump that, outperform that. So the hyperfocus long term is less valuable, but the lateral association, the impulsivity, the spontaneity aspect of ADHD, that's valuable because AI is less able to do that at the moment.
mhm,
So yeah, that's crazy restlessness, the creativity part of ADHD becomes more valuable over time. To give you one example,
mhm,
and yeah, so what I expect, and of course, yeah, you have to differentiate between, let's say, um, yeah, malfunctioning neurodiversity and valuable neurodiversity. There's a distinction somewhere down the road. There's a line. But let's say we focus on the positive, the healthy versions of neurodiversity. Yeah, I think it can bring a lot of value to the table, especially when you do product innovation or any type of R&D or innovation. I think it's a necessity to have very diverse teams creating this. That has been shown by evidence and empirical research. Um, I don't know. I think, yeah, it's basically about fitting, right? It's about
Mhm.
how do you fit a neuro. Now, you are neurodiverse now. You know yourself. That's self awareness is also always step one. And what are jobs or tasks or organizational cultures where you have a much better fit than anything else, right? That's a critical aspect. And I think there will be tools, AI tools or whatever, profiling tools increasingly. So at a young age, to maybe even the first 10 years already, to help you out how to navigate your career, right, or your life based on self-awareness about this neurodiversity weaknesses and also strengths. And you focus on the strength, the positive side, you ignore the negative sides. We have a tendency in our society economy to say, okay, you have this negative stuff, go from minus minus to zero, right? Instead
Yeah.
of amplifying your strength, you have a plus plus here, make it plus plus plus. Do
Hmm.
only stuff where you need to apply your plus plus and
Exactly.
outsource all your weaknesses, right? I have the same issue, right? I have my key strength is vision, strategy, and concepting, right? And I have a broad network and knowledge or whatever, right? Cross domain. That's my asset, right? But all the other stuff, I'm awful, right? So I have to outsource that, right? And that's the painful
Yeah.
lesson in life, right? Only do what you really enjoy and are capable of, your ikigai, right?
Hmm. Amazing.
And you have to be very strict about that in your life.
Yes, you have to, and then it's so important. Like you and me, I think already we make this ripple effect. It's like first of all about awareness, of course, that actually you can approach from not deficit-based model but
Yeah,
strength-based model. Then adjust another thing which you know about yourself, right? And then as more we talk in society about these things, we create and build this street, two-way street, because now it's like kind of still approach we have to be fixed all the time
yes,
to
yes.
pass the society, but it doesn't function like that. If we are so many already, then
Yeah,
it should be some point that we have to go in both directions, right? And make some kind of symbiosis, like you said, collaboration, that we all can thrive. So but just again, all those methods we have been discussed today, and the most even important beginner's mind, again, if one person in this neurotypical society can at least once take away these glasses and put beginner's mind, like, oh, okay, maybe it's actually like that, but not like I've been like study belief the whole life, right? Maybe then we can start approaching this from strengths-based model. It's so important. I'm so happy that you are helping me on this mission to look at this from the beginner's mind again. And I hope we can make more and more ripple effect, and I'm sure we already do. It's in waves, right? It's like effect, we start here and then and then and then, because we are like wholeness, we are oneness, right? So I think all these waves you and me are now producing here in the morning already make the ripple effect. So thank you so much again. So every small step, it's call for action. It's so important for who is around us, especially for the future of our kids and their kids, right? Because more and more kids will be actually neurodivergent, or maybe it will be the whole shift. It will be at some point whole total new normal to be just different. That's it. It's not will be this big distinguishing or something. So usually when I'm back at Trondheim, I have small like lamp, Aladdin lamp I bought in Morocco, and I call her my pink, because my pink my favorite color. A very beautiful pink lady. She's my vice president. She's always with me, and I need to bring it here to Paris. And if I had it here now, so I could wrap my episode with, okay, but now my vice president has this last question, and it's like from Aladdin, and then in Aladdin it's Genie, and Genie grant three wishes, but my small sustainable vice president, she would like to help as many guests as possible, then she grants just one wish. So my always last question from fairy tale, because like you already mentioned beautifully, we all of us and roots start from childhood, the whole life, and we want back to childhood. So we started our episode from childhood, and I do believe very strongly in magic, that we have to create, and we create a magic by ourselves, and it's fairy tale, of course. I don't know why they try to unteach, unlearn us fairy tale when we grown up. So, okay, let's imagine now I have this vice president and she grants one genie wish that you could wish. It can be whatever you want, for you, for humanity, for your son, for your. What would be that last, not last, but
Yeah.
I mean, one wish which is
Well,
last part
I
of
have a
our episode? Yeah.
clear answer to that, which I give everywhere. I think what the world needs and what people need, humanity needs, is more self-love, right? So if we solve self-love, right, in all our systems, so parenting, media, educational, blah blah blah, workspaces,
Mhm.
because you solve all the issues when you have real authentic self-love. There's no greed, there's no jealousy, or right. There's no anxiety, there's no depression, and all these rising issues, right? Youngsters in the Western world. So self-love is the key to all main issues, including destruction of nature, including a lack of intimacy, love, self-love, or let's say, yeah, inner connection. It's about happiness, being healthy, about productive. Yeah, and it's only one word, right? It's all about self-love, and I think we totally lost that concept too much. It's increasing now with all the trauma experts, inner child experts, Gabor Mate, and body keeps the score and all that, right? That's all significant, but we need to speed that up, that awareness, right? That
Mhm.
the language around and the practice, the experience of self-love is the most important thing we can do to help heal ourselves and, more importantly, the whole planet, right?
Amazing. And
Including our kids.
beautiful wish. I have always like nerdy stuff, which in the beginning when I was a little bit nervous running the show, so I couple of times like get back to this nerdy stuff, and I was like reading, but I really don't need now. I always try to be in the present in the moment with my feelings, and my wish then, like you said, self love, and let's pray and let's do that. It will be not our just it will be not path of talk but our path of walk, that we really really do that, that you and me we speak about that, but we also like inspire, encourage people that it's not just talk but walk, right? So amazing. um, Maybe last, absolutely last question. You mentioned I always try to also give some advice to people to the literature, because you said 9 years ago you started your transformational path and you could find inspiration in a couple of books, and then you also mentioned your book. So I would like, when I'm making the post about our show, could you then advise which those two books you could read? Right in the beginning you mentioned, I don't remember now, these two authors. Maybe you can give advice, and about your book again. And the last one, maybe if somebody has additional question to you, when they can find you, how they can reach out. They, of course, I always welcome people to reach out to me on all sources, and to diversity is the game changer. But if they would like to send maybe gratitude to you, maybe you have not, maybe I'm sure you have inspired for so many um, great reflections, so you can just tell them where they can find you and more about you and your, of course, beautiful creations like books and impact.
Yeah, yeah, great question. Thanks for the conversation. I enjoyed it a lot, by the way. In terms of books that inspired me a lot, the last, now, yeah, not, now, let's say 10 years, The Dawn of Everything, David Graeber. It's about indigenous value and wisdom and rethinking our whole past the last now 10,000 of years. It's better than Sapiens, Harari, in my view. Uh,
Mhm.
Second is the book called Sand Talk, Sand by Sand and on the Beach Talk by
Mhm.
Tyson Yunkaporta. It's about
Mhm.
indigenous values and the Aboriginals. They are one of the most advanced tribes in the world, together with the Kogis and the Maoris. It's a beautiful book, tough, but it will change your whole life perspective and
Mm-hmm.
frame of mind. Third book, it's about nature and technology, the convergence I talked about, by George Dyson. It's called Analogia, so analog and IA, and
Mm-hmm.
Analogia. It's a fantastic book, highly undervalued, quite recent, a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's a visionary book about nature and technology.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, yeah, my own book, okay, Exponential Organizations, is from 2014, the original version. I'm now finalizing my second book. It's called Spaciousness. It's a combination about artificial intelligence, human intelligence, and nature intelligence, all three combined. And that's all, yeah, different episodes for a podcast. But in other
Mm-hmm.
books, I enjoyed. Let me think about this. Yeah, it's basically older books by Alfred Whitehead. Uh, so it's about the adventure of ideas, or yeah, process and reality. So how do you, what is a interconnected, entangled worldview? Well, oneness, if you want to understand that, that's a
Mm-hmm.
great thinker and author, Alfred Whitehead. In terms of, yeah, where people can reach me, yeah, just reach out on LinkedIn, for example, send me a message, and I'm happy to answer any questions, and maybe have a longer conversation, or maybe for professional services, whatever. You can also always find me.
Okay. Then, when again, huge gratitude for granting me this beautiful time with so much insightful knowledge and vibrations in your holiness and presence. So, I wish you the much luck with all your projects, private and professional. And always, also, if you need me, you know where to reach. So, I hope we can collaborate and make very nice symbiosis maybe together again. And to my beautiful audiences, thank you so much for staying with us, and especially me in the morning, in the beginning, with all this special. Yes, my language still was not awakened in my tongue. So until next time, stay grounded, curious, and stay open and self love. Bye
Thank you.
bye. Thank you. Bye, Yuri.
Bye.